audience are still here because they're dying to ask Martin a few questions. But first of all, second show, how do you think it went?
Well, now, I have to tell you, I enjoyed it more today. We changed it around a bit. Did you notice, watchers? Did you guys know? Who watched it last week? Could you tell there were some subtle changes? We changed the board around over there. I slowed down a little bit. But partly, it's very interesting. I think people enjoy this stuff. What we did last week is we went quite well to script. It was all written beforehand. I write the show beforehand. That's one of my jobs here. But this week, it was a bit more freehand because it was just a bit more... I wanted to interact with people because, to be honest, that's what I do and that's what I've spent my career doing, and I felt much more comfortable. So I reckon, crew, are we going to go with that next week as well? Yeah, there we go. We're going to go with that next week as well. And I think it worked. I hope you enjoy it. You'll know, I'm sure you'll tell me in the forum. We do read it, so be nice.
Yeah.
Yes, anyway, you're watching on itpaystowatch.co.uk, and doesn't she look lovely this week? Thank you. Yes. You looked lovely last week. But let's be honest, there are a couple of comments, and she's all tucked in, and it's fine, which is good.
I'm standing like this today.
Yes, lovely. Anyway, no, good show. Credit card reclaimers, I hope you're going to get your money. It's a big one, that. And bank charges, we are going to be talking about bank charges reclaiming here. I'm going to be going in much more detail than I did in the programme. We only have 26 minutes in the programme. A few more than last week, you may have noticed. That helped us a little bit as well. Thank you very much. 5. You're very nice. We like it. Anyway, Ruth, I should let you... It's your programme, this bit.
Well, you're meant to be going over there and talking to Lembit. Go on.
Sorry.
Oh,
right. Hello.
Hello, I thought you'd forgotten me.
No, I haven't forgotten you, and you've got the Oyster lot behind you.
Yeah,
now,
great bunch.
Now, while we were just checking that all the stuff was right, and you lot were jamming.
Yeah.
You were jamming. Come on. Come on. Get your mouth organ out. Come on. Right, can we have a little listen? Ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. I wish we had a drum roll in the gallery. Hold on, where am I? Camera 1. Ladies and gentlemen. And now, live on the money-saving pops, it's Oyster and Lembit Opik MP jamming.
Oh, go on, then. Do you lead on?
This is a song for anyone who's currently spending their leisure time trying to get their bank charges back. Rubbish. It's a long, hard road, and I wish the best of luck to you. And I hope my story inspires you in your times of need, 'cause I fought the Lloyds and the Lloyds lost. They even paid the interest and the court costs. At first they sent me letters saying, get lost. But I fought the Lloyds and the Lloyds lost. Oh, at first I tried to call them. They made me listen to Elton John. I even went along in person, they said...
Sorry, sir, but the first rule of banking is the bank is
never wrong. So I crawl home, turn the Webb and Mitchell on, open up Mozilla and go to moneysavingexpert.com.
Oh, sorry, you know what? As you probably know, this is on the web, so I'm actually allowed to say it in this bit. That's the way television works, and it's the right way, because we don't want people on TV programmes plugging what they do all the time. But it's really good. The song, it mentioned that. Loads of people... I'll tell you my best thing about the song, and I just want to say thank you, boys. Right, on Radio 1, they played it on the chart show. And when the guy introduced it, he said, do you know, I'd never heard about this until today. And that was the best thing I've heard, because it's about spreading the issue and reaching more people. So, round of applause to Oyster for doing that.
Well done.
And Lembit, thanks for joining in. Now, were you shocked about the savings? Because there's a lot more, I have to tell you, I think.
I was stunned by it, actually. I just remembered I paid more than that for my Amex card, so you made £1,000. You saved me £1,000 today.
£1,000?
Yeah, that's
Are you going to deal with it, though?
I am going to deal with it, because it's like easy money. Just to do the right thing.
It is, and I have to say, you see, this is about... I mean, I know the life you've got, you must be incredibly busy. What is it, 70, 80 hours a week?
Oh, yeah, at least, yeah.
And the problem is, what we don't do in our lives is prioritise. Now, I suspect of being an MP, and a lot of people say, oh, you get paid 60 grand a year, that's the right salary, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 61, yeah.
Well, actually... I'm suspecting it's not a money-driven thing. You could probably make more in the commercial sector.
If you did 90 hours a week and put up with all the stress and the hassle, you could make a lot more elsewhere. But the interesting thing is, that's no excuse to take our eye off our own finances.
Quite right.
And I hadn't thought about it like this till this show.
Well, if we actually work it out, I tend to say the average person sorting out their finances, it's on your salary, I would reckon we'd probably save you somewhere between, conservative estimate, £4,000 and £7,000. I reckon it'd take you a year to do it. A day to do it, rather. A day to do it, and the savings would be over a year. Now, that's way more than £60,000 a year pro rata.
But you got me thinking, like, for example, I've got an endowment policy and it just doesn't seem to perform.
Have you checked you weren't missold it, first of all?
I've found out that I've put about 24,000 pounds into it, and then they told me that I'd get 17 or 18,000 pound back.
Right.
Now I'm assuming that means it's just not working.
Well, there's two things we have to look at. First of all, an endowment is an investment, and the thing about any investment is it may outperform or it may underperform the market. The key to endowments is whether anybody told you in the first place that it may not pay your mortgage off and pay off the amount. Did they?
I don't know, but I've got all the paperwork from the beginning.
Well, I think you need to go and have a look at that, because if they didn't, you can take an endowment mis-selling claim out, and you need to go and look at how you do the endowment mis-selling claim. But obviously, the key on this is with your current endowment, and a lot of people are in this situation, what you need to actually do, are you still paying that endowment or it's closed? Right.
Yes.
This is the key. You need to have a rough estimate of what the maturity value of that endowment is. Yeah. Right? Now, I don't normally cover investments, and I have to be careful because there are regulations on this. Yeah. And you need to compare what that endowment will be if you keep paying it compared to what it'll be if you don't keep paying it, and how much money you would save by not paying it until it matures. And it's quite an easy calculation to give you a rough idea of whether you should be looking at trading it in or selling it. Actually, you're probably going to need to get an independent financial advisor to do the final calculation. But if you do that mini calculation, that will indicate what you should be doing. Now, I know you've got to run off, haven't you?
That's great, yeah, but having said that, it was definitely worth coming here. You're fired. No, you're hired.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Really nice to have you in. Lembit Opik,
Thanks
everybody.
a lot. That's a great show. Thanks, yeah.
Cheers.
And you guys are great. You guys are great as well. Thanks so much.
Now, Ruth, this is where you're answering the questions, isn't it?
No, I'm not answering the questions. That was a typo.
There was a typo in the script. Poor Ruth. But I'd have to tell you, it's a secret. Poor Ruth, before the show, there's a little bit where in her script it says, and I'll be answering all your money questions. Oh, you were in panic.
I'd have tried. I'd have just said, don't spend what you've not got.
Oh, well, that's a good start. Don't get into debt. Anyway, right. OK, this is my bit. It's my Norris McWhirter bit, as someone emailed me to say. Do you remember Norris McWhirter? Yes. Well, yeah. See if I can do it live. I don't know the questions, so if I make it up, forgive me.
Make it hard for him, though. OK, first of all, I'm looking for Karen Frigate. Oh, there she is. Are you ready for your close-up?
Yes, I am.
What do you want to ask Martin?
I've got my mortgage with Northen Rock at the moment. I'm just wondering how that's going to affect me in the future.
I think when it comes to mortgages, the truth is you owe them money, right? Now, the bank isn't going to go bust. Frankly, it may well be nationalised. We're waiting to hear it. It's day by day at the moment what's going on. Ultimately, the safest possible thing for that bank, the one thing it's got as assets is its liability. Who owes it money? So you are on its balance sheet in a positive way for the bank. So I'm afraid what I would say is no matter what happens, you're going to have to pay the mortgage off. Someone's either going to buy it or it's going to be sitting there. But what we do have to do is maintain whether it's still a competitive mortgage product. And this is the important thing. You know, at the moment, you're in a fixed or discount rate.
Fixed.
For how long?
2 years.
That's a contractual obligation between you and the Northern Rock. That is not going to change. The worry comes on the back end. If the bank's no longer being run on a commercial basis, it's perfectly possible that the standard variable rate, which is the rate you pay after you've gone from your fixed period, will go up. So then you're going to have to watch out and look. This is what you're going to do when you get home. You're going to go look exactly when that fixed rate period ends, and then 3 months beforehand, you're going to mark a big line in your diary, right? I don't know why you make that noise, but anyway, you're going to mark a big line in your diary and you're going to put, need to sort my new mortgage out. Martin says I have to do it. Right? That's the moment. Until then, frankly, you know, you're going to have redemption penalties if you leave that mortgage early. There's not really worth doing it. There's no issues of safety and security over a mortgage because you owe them money, not the other way around, and the rate's fixed and you're locked in on a contract. So I wouldn't worry until 3 months beforehand, but then you need to check everything. That's it.
All right, brilliant.
Happy?
Thanks, yeah.
Good, OK. Paul Prothero, where are you?
Right behind you.
There you are. Paul, what do you want to ask him then? Like your badge, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Martin, 0% credit cards, aren't these transfer fees of 2 or 3% unfair? I used to be a rate tart, but it's no longer worth it for me. Can we do something about reclaiming them?
No. Fairness doesn't really come into this. Ultimately, if they're willing to loan you, if they're willing to give you a 0% deal for a year and they say, actually, we're charging you 2% as a fee when you do it. So let's get this right for everyone. You move to get a new credit card that pays off the debts on the old credit cards, not your cup, pays off the debts on your old credit cards for you, so you owe the new credit card the money. In the old days, they would have 0% offers. You move the money to them, it was 0% for, say, a year, then the rate would shoot up. Bang! Now they say you can move for a year, but you have to pay 2 or 3% of what you've transferred as a fee up front. So let's say you move £1,000, 2%, 20 quid. Now, what is unfair, in my view, is the way they phrase this. What they should do is incorporate that 2% into the interest rate. So they should actually be saying to you, you have to pay a 2.1% for a year interest and not have the balance transfer fee because they advertise, you'll have seen it, 0% interest and a 3% fee. And that's how it works. But no, it certainly doesn't break contractual terms. It's still, you say rate tarting isn't worth it. Let's put this in perspective. Let's take that 0% for a year. Actually, let's do it with a real product. Barclaycard, 0% for 14 months with a 2.5% fee. My top pick balance transfer card at the moment. You get that debt, you've got £1,000 on it. All it's going to cost you is £25 for 14 months to have that debt. If you put that money into a savings account, you would make more after tax than Barclaycard are charging you. Is it still worth it? Yes, it is. It's not quite as good as it used to be, but it's still certainly worth rate tarting and stoozing, which is making money from credit cards.
Yeah, so it's still worth it, but not quite as
Still
worth it as
well,
it was.
you see, the argument is there's a balance here because the length they give you the 0% has been extended, but they now charge you the fee on top. Actually, the bigger issue for credit cards at the moment is the credit crunch, because that's biting hard. And that means that the people who used to be really good credit scorers are still getting credit cards. The people who used to be good are now not quite getting as good credit cards or they're getting a lower credit limit. The people who used to be quite good are now struggling a little bit. The people who used to be in the middle are starting to find that it's getting a lot more expensive. The people on the low end are being smacked a bit, and those people at the very bottom with secured loans are having to bend over while the card companies and loan companies boot them up the backside as hard as they can. It's a nightmare. If you have a secured loan, which is a loan secured on your house, you know, a year ago, you might have been paying 7% interest. Now you're locked in and they've put it up to 13 or 14%, and these people are really struggling. And we are going to have... It's a shame Lembit's gone. It's a politician over there. We are going to have a massive subprime problem because of those rates. People are going to be having house repossessions all over the place. But for credit card tarts, it's still worth doing because you're right at the top end if you're a tart. Well done on being a tart, sir. Right.
Top end tart, I like that. OK, Judith Brooks, where are you? Where is she? Judith, come forward.
What do I do now? Do I go over there? Where's the set?
Just get out of my way.
That way.
Judith, what do you want
to... the floor manager, in case anyone was wondering.
What do you want to ask him, my love?
Hi, Martin. You suggest that we shouldn't stick with gas, electricity, bank accounts for loyalty, but how often should I be looking to change?
Right. It depends how active you want to be. If you look at it on a bank account, if you're with the second or third best bank account, you're probably only losing 10 or 20 quid a year. Right, it's a very small amount, and we have to look at the time-money equation on that. However, if you're with a high street bank account, you need to be getting out of there. So the answer to your question is, you ditch it when the product is no longer a good product. It may no longer be the best buy product, of course. Tarts, like old Paul over here, move whenever it's no longer number one, and that's what I tend to do myself. But most people, if you just want to have an easy life, you move when it's no longer good. Now, with gas and electricity, what I suggest you do, you have to time your switch. You'll probably know I'm saying don't switch right now because the market's in a state of flux. But with gas and electricity, I would just suggest a once-a-year checkup. Annual checkup, then you switch. It takes a couple of months to switch. That will be good. On bank accounts, you know, if we look at the best bank account deals at the moment, for example, Alliance and Leicester's 0% overdraft for the first year. After that, it's no longer the cheapest for an overdraft. So what I'd suggest you do at the top end is you get it for a year if you've got an overdraft, and then after a year, you ditch and move to someone like the Nationwide who's a bit cheaper. But again, Alliance and Leicester's still not bad after a year. So the answer to your question is there's no time period. There's whether the product is good or bad at the point. If it's not a good product, you ditch it. If it's a good product, then you have to decide how much you're actually going to make by ditching it. And if it's still a very good product, then stick.
Thank you.
That all makes sense?
Yep.
Excellent. Really important question now. Bank charges. What a nightmare, eh, at the minute. Now, where's Kevin? Because it's his question. Kevin, what do you want to ask Martin about bank charges?
As claims for bank charges are on hold at the moment, is there anything more I can do at this stage to get my money back?
No. I should probably expand, shouldn't I? Oh, no, let's leave it. Next. No. No, look, this is really important. The FSA put a hold on this back in August or July last year. July. Oh, I remember the day. Channel 4 News called me up. That's how I heard about it and said, we need you on the programme. And I'm like, what about? And they said, haven't you heard? No, because none of those who were campaigning about it were told a dicky bird beforehand. The banks all knew, though. Anyway, that's a separate point. So it was all put on hold, and it's still on hold right now. Now, I have to tell you, it's not going to be quick. You know, you'll read in the press at the moment, they're saying this court case is to decide whether bank charges are fair or unfair. Wrong. This court case is to decide whether Consumer law, unfair contractual terms can apply to bank charges. Only if it can apply, not if it does apply. If it can apply, then the Office of Fair Trading has to decide if it thinks it does apply. If it thinks it does apply, then it has to go to the banks and say, what are you going to do about it? If the banks don't agree to deal with the Office of Fair Trading, because it doesn't have those type of powers, it may well have to go back to court again. And all of that is forgetting the fact that we might have an appeal. So the first answer is, what can you do? Absolutely nothing. My hope is that the FSA hold on this. The FSA is the regulator, of course. The FSA hold on this. If we win, and I strongly hope we win, but, you know, this is a court with big, very expensive barristers. Who knows what's going to happen? If the Office of Fair Trading wins, then the FSA will stop the hold, even if it's due to go on an appeal, and everyone can carry on reclaiming. But in your case right now, only a few people in Scotland are more likely to be able to get it through the courts, but only if you're absolutely genned up on it to the hilt should you even try and approach going to court and not having them put a stay on your claim. Otherwise, hold. Where's Cynthia again? Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Yes, Cynthia has helped. How many people you must have helped? I don't know. Hundreds of people reclaim bank charges. She works, as I can say here, Cynthia is the board guide on the Bank Charge Reclaiming Forum on moneysavingexpert.com. Eddie Lass, as a lot of people will know her, and she's helped loads of people. There you go. And don't you agree? There's not much... We're not getting much success, are we, on the hold?
As long as the claim is put in and registered, though.
Pardon?
As long as their claim is put in and registered.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That's the next point. Your question, is anyone in here not put in a bank charges claim but looking to do it? Thinking of doing it? We've got Karen over there, we've got Amjad over there...
Amjad, you've not had a turn, love.
Yeah, what's your situation?
My wife's got charged over the past 6 years a lot. And when we got married, I tried to sort the finances out.
Yeah.
And when I tried to convince her there's no such a loyalty to bank, because she was saying, oh, since 12 years old, I was with them. I don't want to upset them. They know me very well. I said, no, they don't. When you need them, they won't know you, as you say, your website. Yeah, exactly. So I told her, you know, and convinced her. Unfortunately, it was July when they announced everything is on hold, so didn't do anything since then.
That, you have to put your claim in. Let me try and explain this. I'm going to put the mug down over there, if you forgive me. Look, this is really important. It's camera one over there. I'm going to do this to camera, if you forgive me. Look, there is something called the Statute of Limitations under UK law, and that means in England and Wales, you can claim back 6 years. In Scotland, it's 5 years. Simple as that. So at the moment, today, you can claim back 6 years from today. If you don't put your claim in at the moment, and what actually counts as putting your claim in is complex, I'm going to leave that for the moment, but if you don't put your claim in, well, in 2 weeks' time, you can no longer claim 6 years and 2 weeks ago. You've just lost 2 weeks of bank charges. Now, what you've got to do is put your marker in the sand and say, here is my claim. From this date, 6 years back, I want the cash. None of us know what is going to happen once the FSA takes off the hold or if the OFT wins. We don't know. I suspect the OFT is going to win this case. And then one of the things we're lobbying hard, what I personally think should happen, personal opinion, is that they took our money from us automatically, unlawfully. We're about to decide whether it was unlawfully. They should have to give us back our money automatically without us reclaiming it. The chance of that happening is about as likely as the chance of me picking my nose live on air, which I'm not intending to do. Right? So you're still going to have to put a claim in. Now, we don't know whether that statute of limitations will apply, because you'll probably be able to go through the Ombudsman, so you may be able to claim back a longer period. But for heaven's sake, you don't want to risk the fact that it might not for the sake of sending in one letter. The template letters are available. The link through is on the Pays to Watch website where you're watching this, or you can go to moneysavingexpert.com/. We've just introduced that this week. Do you like the forward slash? Is it? Oh, I suppose it's in reverse. It's mirrored in the camera. Anyway, /bank charges. Go and send off your letters. Go and get it started. Get your marker in the sand. And then whatever happens, all you've lost is the price of a stamp. And hopefully you're going to gain those extra period of bank charges. Who in here's got their bank charges back? Who did it in time? Well done, well done, well done, well done. I spent a year going, do it quickly, do it quickly. We didn't know what was going to happen. But then again, you know, there we go.
Well, listen, we could talk about this for hours and hours and hours because...
no, I couldn't.
It makes us so angry. It makes us all so angry. But that's all we've got time for. So tell us what's happening next week.
Next week, debt, debt and debt. Of course, more money-saving news. We're going to be going on the whole thing. And Jenny Bond will be here. I will be delving into former royal correspondent Jenny Bond's wallet or purse. I don't know, whichever one you should call it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Pays to watch more. Next week, 7:25 p.m. on 5, the main programme, and about 9 o'clock the same night, this will be back here on the website. Come and watch us again. Thank you very much. Thank you to the audience. Thank you to everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.